air density is 97. I mean, if we were going drag racing today, you could set the world's record with the horsepower today. Unbelievable. Now the craziest thing when the air is this cool, well, the wind is shifting now from flight to flight, but that cool, dense air, as soon as the motor starts, you know, boom, you got that horsepower. Oh, it's like running 40% nitro. Unbelievable. I just had to look at the gauge again. 97. 97. Unbelievable. If you've ever been a racer, a drag racer, or a car racer or anything, you know right now, if you were at some drag strip, you'd be wanting to set the record. You'd be thinking, quick, quick, get the nitro in the car, get this, get that. And when you're flying, all of a sudden the plane has double the power. It's like a rock out at the end of the line. You ready to go there, baby? Let's fly. Time to fly. Use up this 97 air density. Oh, I'm not going to find this thing. 97. Wish I had the racing motorcycle. I'd like to ride it before if you go. Now, John said I should make you get a good one on one flip. You're laughing at me. See, I'm not caution. That's the problem. Mind you, your slippers. I love this thing. Well, this time of year, it's just, so good. I love cool weather. I just, this time of year, flannel shirt, you're out here, the coffee's warm, oh man. This right now, 96, 97, that's the best air density we've had pretty much all year. And boy, everything is just working like, whew. Now the thing that's different, in this air, a plane has more corner, has more line tension, the motor's making more power, and usually the pilot is more, there's more oxygen in the air. The pilot's more alert, and you only need 12 cups of coffee to wake up in the morning. Or in Rich's case, 15. But anyway, because we've been through a long, relatively hot summer with air densities in the high 80s, today is like a special surprise. It's like putting a supercharger on your car or whatever. Now, I wanted to get a couple flights because there's still a couple of trim things I want to do to the Testarossa. One of the things I wanted to try at the end of this day, and maybe I'll do it back at the shop, I want to increase the elevator travel just a little bit. Now, Rich Oliver is always on my case to do that, and I'm always, it's flying good the way it is, and we flew it at the team trials, Jose flew it. Right now, we're at the end of our contest season. We have 2 more contests left. Right now would be a good time to try it, but I think because the air is so good, I just want to fly. I just want to fly. Until Daddy takes the T-Bird away. Okay, so it's time. It's that magic time. The flannel shirt is off, the air density is going down. Ah, boy, when it's cool, boy, do you get that that nice motor run anyway. Hope we got some of these flights that they look decent anyway. By the way, one of the tricks I always use is, I thought I'd show this, I use the back of my arms to find the wing. Now, it's because your arm is always extended. This makes a perfect thing. You can get yourself in tune with feeling exactly where the wind is. And when I've showed other people that, they say, wow, what a great idea. Just roll up. Actually, you only have to roll up one sleeve, but then you look like a, I don't know, one-armed penguin or something. But it's not like you want to be, you know, a bodybuilder, but that gives you more exposed area to find the wind on. And it works for me. Whether it works for you, if it doesn't, you get your money back. We're going to try it later on in the day. It's warmed up a little bit. Air density is now a little bit lower than it was before. But what we're looking for is to see what the range is on this prop. Now this is one of the ones I de-pitched quite a bit, in fact. And we're running the motor a lot harder, basically because the air is getting cooler. And it's this time of year that we start de-pitching props on a regular basis. So we'll see how this one is working out. And I know when next time I pull the plane apart, because it's difficult to get in at the little adjustment. Again, that was one of the things I didn't like about this plane. And apparently one of our flaps has warped or something from being out in the sun or being at the team trials, I don't know. Laying in the car in a hot car for 2 weeks. So we need to make a slight flap adjustment on that, but it's easier when the wing is out of the body, and of course that takes, you have to take the plane apart to do that. Again, one of the things I want to do at the end of this session, I want to try what Rich Oliver suggested, just a little more elevator, but in the meantime, the other thing that I can do is, after a couple more flights, I'm going to open up the handle just a little bit, just to see if that's a way of getting it to turn harder. Then I can put on the little tail weight, the little brass tail weight, the tail wheel. That'll make it turn harder. Or if I just like having more physical elevator. And all three of them are going to be just slightly different feel at the handle. But actually it feels pretty good right now. But I always mark it so I can go back to where I was before I made the change.
Okay, our session's over. We're going home to add a little bit of elevated travel to this. Now, I worked long and hard on what I thought was going to be a solution, and I tried pretty much everything that I had possibly could remember, so that at the end of a flight, this would not be covered with oil and fuel. Now, it's really as clean as it's ever been, maybe a little cleaner. But unfortunately, the paint has already been damaged by the fuel, so for sure over the winter time, we're going to dedicate some time into refinishing this fuselage, because this is still one of my favorite planes, maybe the favorite plane. I don't know. When you have Ferraris, it's hard to decide which one is your favorite, but this one still flies good. Again, the next thing I wanted to try, and the performance of this I think is excellent right now. In fact, it flew real well for Jose at the team trials, and it flew well for me at the Palisade Park meet. But this was a constant problem. I think we have that solved now. We have a spare tune pipe for it. Always want to have a spare exhaust system. You never know when one of those is going to let go, or you're going to have a problem or want to change the tuning. This is the very soft exhaust. The one we have that runs at 18 inches, this one is just a long pipe. It's actually just a long muffler. It's not even a tune pipe, as you would know it as a tune pipe. But again, what happens is, as these planes get older and older and older, if you're inclined to do the maintenance, which in this case would be to pull this apart, refinish the body, and use the automotive clear up on the nose or maybe on the whole body, I think what happens is you get year after year after year after the plane. You get an unlimited life, like our Spitfire is now in its 8th year. Can you imagine 8 years? So to me, it's worth doing that maintenance. And it's going to be worth over the winter time while we're doing a Spitfire, doing some of that stuff. And again, the paint has got a spot over here that needs to be refinished. I'm not sure how we're going to do that. We got a lot of choices. One thing when you have
very little trim on a plane, you can end it at an incline, and you can end this at an incline. Is you have a lot more choices than, say, when you have stripes going all down the body and everything. But again, the problem with red is, and this is something I'm very aware of, is when you match red, you almost always, this red is now faded for 2 years. It's not going to be as bright as the replacement touch-up paint. So I'm going to probably talk to Bob Brookins about maybe how I could get around that or make that as good as I can make it in the future. But this is still one of my favorite planes. And I really hope one of the things you can get off of the videos is, or DVDs or whatever, is that if you do the maintenance on a regular basis and you keep after all the little paint spots that are wearing out and stuff, and possibly do the refinishing on spots that are necessary, you really do get a long and happy life out of any plane, any design. But this one I think is going to be one of my better ones. And I really like the look. When I had Jose flying this at the team trials, that's the first time I'd really gotten to see it from outside the circle. And I thought it looked cool as could be, but obviously that's all in the eye of the beholder. Anyway, back to the shop. We're going to add some elevator travel, do a couple other little things, but I don't want to start fooling with the flaps until we have the wing out of the body, for obvious reasons. What happens is that hole, when I thought I had this as a good design, it was way too close to the flap pivot point, and when you get in there with an Allen wrench, if you slip, you take a big chunk out of the body. I don't want to risk that. Now that we're back to the shop, a couple little things. This has the old style where I have notches, so I'm going to just move it up 1 notch. And I can adjust the play by putting the bushing in and out. We'll start with the maximum play, but it'll definitely give us a lot more elevator travel. But what that allows us to do is always go back to the old setting. Now I'm always tempted to just put a wheel collar on here and avoid having to solder it. Well, that's not happening. I already got the brush out to get the solder and everything on there, because I just don't trust wheel collars on push rods, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm just being a baby about it, I don't know. Here was my other point. You can see where it's wearing the paint out. What happens on the back part, you'll see spots on any take-apart plane where right here is one, where it just wears the paint through. Well, what we'll do is take this part and just kiss that with sandpaper, seal it with thin CA and some red paint, because what's happening, that means that part there is rubbing, and I don't want it to act like a saw blade and rub its way through. But each time I take one of my take-apart planes apart, I look for those little areas, touch them up with thin CA, relieve this piece just a little bit, and then of course just put a drop of touch-up paint on it. Keeps the oil and everything from getting in there. Now it'll be a very interesting test once we put this all back together again. It'll be a very interesting test. This will be the first time we've had it with way more elevated and flap. Again, on some planes that seems to work real well, but the nice thing is we can always go right back to the old system. Now there's a lot of ways. See, it isn't like we're looking for anything in particular, but when you move the CG back with tail weight, that gives you sometimes more corner and sometimes just a more power steering feel. Same thing with the elevators. There's a point at which the plane rotates too quick and it becomes, well, harder to control, in my opinion, than if you have the other way, where there's a little more flap. When it flies more off the flap, you get a nice big smooth neutral. So the bottom line is everything here is a compromise of sorts. Everything is something that you've got to go too far in one direction, too far in the other direction. Find the median point that's going to work for you. Now in Avanta we have a slider which gives us little incremental things, but this is the way we did the Spitfires in the past, and the good news about doing it this way is you've locked in a position. You never lose it, that's for sure. But we could always drill out one of those bushings and put it halfway through if we wanted to. And the good news is they don't loosen up. Whenever I've had things with Allen screws, an Allen screw to me is always something in the middle of the night. It talks to me and it says, I'm going to loosen up when you don't expect it. But anyway, then what we'll do is once we put this all back together, of course, we'll check with our gauges that we have neutral, same amount of play up and down. If not, we can just relieve the bushing just a little bit extra. But this gives us a lot of trim choices. Now, because this plane flew pretty good right in the beginning, I never even used any of these trim choices. I was happy with it, but apparently from sitting in the car, and I always lay a rag over this flap, I've kind of warped the flap a little bit. So I'm gonna, next time I pull the whole plane apart, I'm gonna just tweak that flap up just a little bit. Don't want to get involved in doing that now, because basically later this week we're going to have some flyable good air, and we're going to run out of air very quickly here, and I'll have plenty of time to do all this touch-up. Now see down here where it's worn the paint out, I can just put a little bit of touch-up paint on there, and it just keeps, it's very easy, it just keeps the oil, any of the grease that accumulates, whatever, from warping up the wood or becoming a problem. Now one of the things that is a problem on this plane constantly is because you can see where our exhaust pipes come out here. When we use the soft pipe, the problem is it's burned up the paint on the bottom of the fuselage, but when we do the refinish on this, we're going to use high temperature paint, or I was even thinking of painting on a thin coat of pipe resin or something on there. That's one of the things, one of the upgrades, because as a plane gets 2, 3, and 4 years old, you get to work out all these little kinks. And this is why when the main focus of somebody's involvement in model aviation is to win trophies, you always would like to have a 3, 4, 5-year-old plane that's got a million, because you've done all of these and you've worked it out and eliminated all the little trim issues. Now, we're still, even though this plane is 2 years old, we're still in a pretty basic, there's things we haven't tried yet. There's things we haven't really fooled with. There's things we haven't pushed to the max. But that's what I'll use the end of this season for, is trying to get some of the things, especially that we haven't had the time to try, to get them pushed a little bit more to the limit. And with more elevator, I suspect, number one, I'll have to readjust the handle. Oh, and again, we'll find out. But the thing with any of these trim things, I always want to be able to go right back. Now, if I had a slider, I would want to take a Dremel tool and put a scratch so I could put that slider right back in the same position. And I know Richard Oliver has his set, so he has all kinds of adjustments, but I always want to go back to square one. The problem with this is when you move it and you don't know where it was, you've got a lot of trim flights then before you get it back. Now another thing, very shortly, well, I think it's 2 weeks, Bill Rutherford and his wife are going to be up here visiting us, and we hope we're going to, at least at some point in that time, sneak over to the flying field and give Bill a flying lesson. I think his grandson's giving him flying lessons. But the Testarossa is for sure one of our favorite planes, and we want to, at this point in the year, just push it as far as we can. And as we go into the Spitfire building program, at least have the knowledge that we've pushed this as far as it could go. Now with the whole ship put back together, we now have quite a bit more elevator travel, and we'll have to go through this. And what I'm going to try to do at some point in time, probably on this video or on the next one, like I said, what I'm going to try to do is answer the phone. Let me get the phone. Well, we've been busy. That phone, between the last time I had the camera on, that phone rang 3 times, and all 3 of the people, it seems like it was a pretty common thing. Everybody that's got these ARFs seems to be enjoying them. Now I'm just, myself, I'm so glad we have this issue of the fuel dripping out solved. I am so glad, even though I really am not a big fan of running pipe pressure, but this was ruining the paint on a plane, and it was making me crazy. So it looks like we have that behind us. We'll try to get some flights on it tomorrow with the extra elevated travel, and then we'll try to somehow summarize what we learned when we get this all back in one piece. And I hope, hey, we got 3 contests left this year, so hope we're gonna learn some more. This morning they are predicting blue skies, 5-mile-an-hour winds all day. So what that usually means is in an hour from now it'll be blowing like a hurricane, but John and Rich have called. They're already at the field. Time to go see if those elevators are going to make any improvement, or if it's just going to be a tie, or if it's going to be worse. And you never know until you actually do the test. Now every morning I have to come out here and water her plants. Her dermators. Oh, she's got a couple dermators. Look at these eggplants. Look at it compared to my hand. They're pretty decent. So now that Karen, as of today, is exactly a month away from retirement, she has decided that she wants to become a farmer. And we heard from Rich Oliver today that they're making the decision on what tile to put in their new home. So tomatoes, eggplants, tile. Look at that blue sky. Boy, we don't get many days where the sky is that blue. But it looks like today might be one of them. So we're going to load up the car and go see Rich and John. Boy, and every day as I pull into the park, and of course the other half of the Wild Hog stunt team has beat me here. It's such a pleasure to just pull in here and see, well, who's flying today? John is flying. What a thrill. Brian's already gone to work. I guess I really am late. The Wild Hog stunt team. Unbelievable. I think we're going to have a day even better than yesterday. Boy, this day looks great. Everybody's in jackets, which means about 2 hours from now we'll be in t-shirts. And we're going to fly till we drop. Look at that flag. Oh, man. What a day. Looks good. And they're already flying up a storm.
Those guys in Texas.
Oh, yeah. They know Raul the terrorist. He was convinced the stooge was, oh, no, I'm going to make you a stooge. Oh, no. I said, Raul, I got this thing 20 years. Woo! Oh, yeah. What a guy. All right. Boy, this is stunt heaven if there ever was stunt heaven. Holy mackerel. And all week it's supposed to be like this. Yeah. Now we were coaching, John was coaching Rich last couple days. Then actually Rich was making some improvements, but I looked at the flights from yesterday and they weren't, camera was not really in a great angle, but I still have my big 3 to work on. And it's the first leg of the wing over, the first pull up from level flight that has the kink in the top. Second one seems better, and this, I went through about 8 or 10 of these yesterday on the video. Obviously, and Rich is working on pretty much the same thing, so we may shoot some video of him today too. But the other thing was the overhead 8 intersection and the 4-leaf clover. Everything else looked like the changes that I had made while we were at the other field have kind of sunk into my brain, and I'm doing them automatically now, or I'm doing most of them. But today the first thing is I want to try this new elevator travel out. That's step 1. See if that's going to be an upgrade or a lateral move or a backward step. And usually that requires a few flights to get used to it. If it's better, even if it's better, you still want to get used to it. But we have a good day today to take advantage of this. Even if the air only holds up an hour or 2, we'll at least get early in the morning like this, you almost always guaranteed you get 1, 2, 3 flights. And when the 4 of us are here, I would say the minimum I've ever gotten on a day that it starts out good, you'd always get 1 or 2 flights. And then some of the days, of course, it stretches way out. Now, and this is the thing, and I wanted to do a storyboard about this, maybe in the near future. I'm trying to present it in a way that it would be helpful information. See, every plane has the corner that it has, and this plane has a pretty good corner, in fact, as most Stragers do. But you can change that corner, and as an example, the variable things, the prop diameter, which we don't really fool with that much, because the 76 really likes full-size props. The CG location, where the lead-outs come out of the wing, and the handle spacing, obviously all play big parts in how a plane corners. And what you're looking for is combinations, or what I'm looking for, that are friendly. In other words, if you make the plane real tail heavy, just wrap some solder on the tail, it'll have a dynamite corner, and you know what? It'll be really hard to fly in level flight. Other combinations, like a little more nose heavy and a little bit bigger handle, plane is easy to fly and still has the same corner. So what I'm always looking for, and what I'm looking for with the Testarossa, is that I have the same corner and I'm still balanced a little bit nose heavy, so that the level flight, and the level flight especially, one of the places where you really appreciate it, in the wing over track. When a plane is nose heavy, the wing over track is relatively easy. When it's tail heavy, it's almost impossible to get it to go over the top without some kind of movement, some kind of little wiggle or jiggle. So we're going to be working with that, and I'll try to do a storyboard at some point in time when I have all my little thoughts in a row, because I think that's information everybody can use. Even seasoned flyers can probably pick something out of that. But again, like shoes, you've got to, or my feeling is, you should try everything, and Bob Gieske confirmed this when we were at the team trial. Mike Scott was trimming his plane a certain way, and I said trim it my way, and if you try it both ways and you see one way works better than the other for you, why not? Always good to try everything at least once and then make your decision. You got it, baby. Boy, what a day, huh? If it would stay like this all year long, I'd be in heaven. Flannel shirt in the morning, t-shirt in the afternoon. No shorts. Fly every day.
That is not the issue.
Yeah. All right, we're ready to fly. It's stunt heaven. He's ready. I'm ready. The Ravens are ready. Bernie Trent's ready.
Johnny B is flying.
sick of taking a picture of Raul's head for 8 minutes. My battery's going dead. Look, yeah, he's right here. Look, 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 look. He's right here. 8 minutes of his head instead of my flight. Ah! Look, he's got 80 acres to sit in. And where do you think he sits? He sits right in front of the camera. What are you, Britney Spears? I want to see your big rear end. Jeez. I'll move the camera. I'll be a gentleman and move it. Terrorist. The next time he parks in front of my camera, I'm calling INS. It's as simple as that. Anyway, here's the feedback. And I just had a feel-out flight. It certainly has more turn now. It'll probably require by the end of the day moving a handle in some, but I want to give it one more flight. Obviously the tail comes around quicker. Now, is it ultimately at the end of 3 or 4 days of flying going to be that it's more comfortable than the way it was? It was pretty comfortable. I really won't know for 3 or 4 days, but the more flights I can look at, the more I can see repeated errors, and I'm really concerned with working on it's that first wing over track up that it doesn't get here and then move. Because the second one seems to be pretty good. Again, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to try to find a camera position where the sun is not a giant factor, but whenever you have to move this way, you always get the shadow of the sun in there, and you really don't get, when I go to look at the footage, half of the time you can't see the plane. So. Okay, this is the second flight with the increased elevator travel. No change to the handle yet. okay, 2 flights, and I want to give it the whole day before I change the handle, because there's broken glass here. Because I want to get comfortable. It has a distinctly different feel in terms of, before you would move the handle, let's say that much, and it would induce a turn. Now it's very quick to turn, and I'm not sure if just shrinking the handle in is going to be the answer, or some combination of other trim things. But the trick now is not to get too jumpy and want to go out and change something right now, because it's got a little bit different feel. Not sure if I like it yet. I feel like I like it, but it's like a girlfriend. Yeah, first date, the second date, third date, then you start to notice, oh gee, and by about the 5th date, it's like, but anyway, just to make a point, whenever I change something trim-wise, I like to give it a good test. Now, and also, this is stun heaven conditions. I would like to try this, of course, and sometime today the wind will come up for sure. Once the wind comes up, this may have a distinctly different feel than it had before, but there's certainly some potential here to unlock if I'm patient and if I take my time. And let's face it, I'm not going anywhere today. It's the kind of thing that you need to make a decision, like a prop. If you put a prop on a plane and fly one flight, yeah, it's good under those conditions, but now the air density changed. Now something else changed. It's actually 98 this morning. I can't believe the air density we have. So what happens? Everything feels powerful. Plane feels solid. I'd like to see this if we get a day later in a week when it's up in the 90s and the air is thin and the air is blowing. And sometimes then the whole bubble bursts for you. So, but we're starting out, and Rich Oliver might have been right that I should have done this before. Well, but you only have so much life, and you only have so many times to do this and break in other people's motors and shoot video and make props for people. And so what happens is I have to pick and choose my draft choices. But I think this is a good one. I think this is one we're going to be happy with. Now, Raul the terrorist is going to fly a speed flight, so this might be worth leaving the camera on for. But then, well, we don't know. We found a homeless guy sleeping at the field this morning on our park bench. Oh, it's John. I'm sorry, it's John. This is an event where a 1-flip start is mandatory. Roll, the other guys have 30 laps on you already. Yeah, put some lighter fluid in it. Come on, you're wasting all our good air here. There we go. Yeah, he gets the wrong handle. Get out of there, that's my handle. Okay, Rich is timing him? Yes. What happened? They played a joke on him, I don't know, a year ago. They timed 6 laps instead of 7. Are you going to give him a real time or a fake time?
No, I'm only counting the laps.
Oh.
I leaned it out even more.
Ah! When he was running out to the handle?
Yeah. He doesn't know how to lean an engine.
No. He was recruited in a madrasa in Pakistan. We call him Raul the terrorist. He speaks 12 languages, only none of them are English. He's been arrested twice for flying where he shouldn't fly. One time it cost him $2 grand. That's why we love him. Raul the terrorist. He adds to the enjoyment of being at the field all day. Unreal, huh? How many thousand laps is he supposed to do here? Is this an endurance contest or something?
He must be doing 46, he said.
Oh, okay.
46 laps.
And then they got to come in for a 1-flip start?
Yeah.
I could go have coffee. I could go buy us coffee while he's having a 1-flip start. But we love the guy. Don't mistake this. Don't mistake like we really don't like him. He is the head of the entertainment committee here. You know, we ought to make him an honorary. Hey, Rich, we could make him an honorary hog, a stunt hog.
Oh, you only got 28 laps.
You better put more gas in it, chickie. Look, right over all our lines. There go the lines. Look at, check your lines, Rich.
How many laps? 28.
Now you would think, John, wouldn't you, that while you're doing flying speed, there's nothing else to do. You could count the laps. Is there something wrong with this picture? You need a guy counting laps while you're flying level? I can count laps while I'm doing a stunt
That's
pattern.
right. You go by the scale, count the laps.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, God, we love the guy. What would a day be like without Raul the terrorist?
Then I'll go up after you.
Come on, baby. You got stunt heaven here. Probably all of us are going to... The lines will break now that Raul drove over them.
146.
So there you have, the entertainment committee has just produced. Are the lines okay, John?
Yeah.
All right.
I just got to wipe them.
Yeah, I ought to wipe mine too. I ought to check it. Up, Rich, or gotta go yet? What do you got?
Somebody was asking me if this was an ARF. I said, are you kidding? Does it look like an ARF?
That's an insult, huh? Does this look like it's made in China? Maybe you should put a bag over your head like Brett Buck.
Not who it was. He asked me, is that an ARF?
Ah,
I said, hey?
hey mate. Oi mate.
You know, like the Aflac duck. Hey?
Hey? Yeah, Aflac duck. Boy, they milked that for, oh yeah. Whoever came up with that idea is a millionaire. They got more money than you.
And you. And the both of us together.
Throw in Raul. Watch your shoelace, Rich.
No, that's all right.
That's okay? I don't want you to pull a Johnny on me here. I know life is tough. You can't afford new shoelaces.
I need new sneakers. Look at
Me too. I know. I got to get a pair. They wear out. We're so intense about this. They wear out, baby.
The problem is that we're always involved with these toy planes. And we don't have the time to go and do other things,
Yeah.
like buy sneakers.
Yeah, buy groceries. My son and his girlfriend had a great time Sunday.
Oh, good.
They loved it, yeah. The little dog even enjoyed it. He liked being outside all day.
Yeah, he told me he's doing much better now.
Yeah, he is. He is. But it's always something. You know that. When one problem ends, another one starts. Yep. Speaking of that, I got to get a hold of Brian, have him fix Karen's car.
You got the drain plug?
I got it. Yeah, they ordered it from Ford.
Drain
Gotta-
plug for what?
They stripped the drain plug in the Karen's car when I went for an oil change.
Oh, that's nothing new. They
Yeah.
stripped mine on the rear pumpkin.
All right, Pumpkin, you're standing right in front of the camera, Pumpkin.
Okay, no.
You're getting a Raul.
Where?
Raul's the
Where's
only
the-
one.
oh, the
Right
camera.
by the, right there.
Oh, there it is over
Yeah,
there.
high tech, baby.
You got it on?
Yeah, I got two cameras on.
Where?
One just checking that you're not stealing any of my stuff.
Where the hell's the camera?
Go ahead. Yeah. So Rich is working on getting the wing over pull out of that. Hey, a little bit better. He's still, I told him the safest place to park your car is under his wing over pull out. But he's getting better. Is he giving it? He's doing a couple extra on each flight, right?
Yeah. He does 3.
Yes, he's got the kink in the top. He's still at 7 feet.
7 feet?
10? How? You're the coach. Well, we could put my van there. I mean, he's higher than the blue van when he pulls out.
How far does the airplane travel when you turn it out?
24 frames on an analog camera.
No. On distance.
Oh, I don't know.
When you first hit the plane,
Yeah, probably 10 feet or something. I don't know. I thought you meant time-wise, because I've timed it.
No.
You know, a digital, I mean, captures the frames. So you can actually see the elevators moving and count frames until they go back to neutral. But every plane's different.
Yeah.
Usually it's 20 to 24 frames. See, the second leg flies up. I don't know why he does that, and then the third leg flies back. He must be copying me. That was one of the things I was doing earlier in the year. But of course, I'm still working on it, so what does that tell you? That one's nice. This plane flies better than his Stuka, I think. A little bit better. He's not afraid of it, you know? But if he's gonna fly the bent wing Stuka, right now is the time to do it in this nice air. I'd run home and get it right now.
afraid of that landing gear.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why the hell he ever did that.
Well, you know, geese, 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 geese. They're everywhere, geese, geese. You've just seen a geese emergency. And it can happen. Now these are eggs, they're standing up. Twice as high as they are long. If I go to the TV screen, he's gonna be sick about that. Square's gonna be the same way, twice as high. You gotta stretch this out. Look at this, 2 feet he flies and then he turns. 2 feet, turn. Let it fly out a little bit. It's an 8, not 2 lucky strike boxes. Come on, Rich. I'm gonna have to start videotaping flights for him. I don't think he sees that, John. I don't think he sees it. He's gotta stretch that out. A little bit better. There we go, a little bit better. Stretch it out. There we go. He must have heard me. Stretch it out. There you go. There you go. Hey, he must have heard you, John. Here's us cursing him out here.
Paul Walker did that when at the net. He flew in square 8, you know, high and narrow, because he didn't want to go out into the wind.
Yeah.
They pointed him up. Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
That was way distorted. The last leg was laying way back. Come on, Rich. Too far back, and then it makes that last turn a pain, overturning the top.
When you see the back of the airplane, you turn too much.
He could fix the square 8 and the horizontal 8 in a couple of flights. If he would see it on a TV screen, he would see right away what's wrong with it. Yeah, I'm convinced now, sooner or later, we're gonna show a big improvement. And I'm not sure whether that's gonna be from just getting used to the handle setting now, or making the adjustment, shrinking the cable in a bit, or just making a separate dedicated handle. I have plenty of handles in the van, so I can keep this one and just make another one. I even got some that are already painted for Ferraris. And we all know how important that is. If you don't have the Ferrari paint on the handle and you're flying a Ferrari, it's an unauthorized purchase. Alright, we're going to try to get some footage with our increased elevated travel. We took a little break. We got a little bit of breeze now, so it'll give us some exposure to a little bit different condition than we had this morning. This morning really was stun heaven. It really was unbelievably nice. But as the day's gone on, and we're about 3 hours, 2 hours into it now, two and a half. What's happened? We've got a little breeze to deal with now. So now we want to see if this extra elevated travel is going to be a plus or a minus as the breeze is blowing. And we still need the biggest test of all is, are we going to be able to test it in some hot, real hot 90 plus air where the air density is under 90. And if that happens and we're happy with all three of those, then I'd say we've made an upgrade to the plane. If not, then we have to make decisions. Okay, we'll shut the camera off here. That actually felt pretty good. That was the flight number 3. Now, of course, what I want to do is I want to look at the big 3. The wing over track on the first leg, the overhead 8 intersection, and getting the legs like an X on the 4-leaf clover. And maybe a few of the square 8s. I don't know. I never see that as the biggest problem. I always see that first wing over track. comfortable as the day wears on. I'm not sure I'm even going to change the handle today because I want to give myself a full amount of time to get used to this, but it certainly feels a little more comfortable in the corners. And one of the things it was doing before, if you go back and look at old video, in the inside squares at the top, it would be giving me these wiggles, which it isn't doing now. And some of the reason for that is when the tail is high, like in most of my designs, I think that's a characteristic of the tail being high. I've heard that anyway. But this having more elevator means the flaps are moving less and deflecting less air up onto the elevators. Who knows and who cares? As long as it works, that's all we care about. And let's see if we got enough time. May get one more flight because Raul's straining at the bit here to get to break the world speed record. Hard to believe a day could be this good. Unbelievable day. And we're trying to help Raul get this one of his, he's got 10 of these things here running, but he's got one that's a real lemon. You ready? Value. You can't get it started. It's got to start. You'll lose the race. Worn on. In fact, I got to move Mr. Zimmer here. We're using a towel and a barrel to be a Mr. Zimmer today. I've been launching and picking up this crazy speed plane all day. He must have 10 of these things. None of them start on a first flip. So, but you know what the good news is? This is how you get a lot of good exercise. You can be the toughest kid on your block. Anyway, aside from that, I'm real happy the way this is panning out. And as the days going by, the conditions are worsening and worsening, and they're certainly not getting better. And in fact, what's happened in the last hour since we had our lunch, it's gone to stone dead. Moving, stone dead. So I've had to move the camera. The sun is up as high as it's going to be, so from this point on. But an excellent, excellent test day. And I decided to stay and tough this day out because I really want to commit to this elevator travel or not commit by the end of the day, and I've had almost all the conditions except runaway bad air, and so far it looks like an upgrade. To be honest, I should have tried this a lot sooner, but you just run out of time, you run out of life, and you run out of things, granite kitchens and everything, and it's, you know, just doesn't happen. But again, what's real nice is it's really been a nice day. No clouds at all. And we all learning and putting stuff in a database, and I think things that you can share and take from this. Now, the only thing I would really like to try, and I'm not going to do it today because it's such a nice day, I don't want to fool with this. I ought to make up another set of lines and another handle that's just a little bit small, and then I'd fly back-to-back flights and see if I like it. It's a little bit on the touchy side now, but I have a feeling if the wind comes up later or tomorrow or whenever, and it's moving around. In fact, it just took a shift. I feel it moving this way now, but it doesn't matter. I'm not really looking at that right now. I'm looking at that feel. When a plane is trimmed for a good corner, it has a feel. It has when you hit it and it stops. And it turns nice and sharp and stops. And when it turns and goes like that, or it turns and goes 3 feet and goes useless. Totally, you never get two corners the same. The real thing I'm striving for is click. Or on a square 8, it's just putting in these legs. And it's not doing this wiggly thing and jiggly, and in a triangle, nice and pointy at the top, it's not doing this wiggly thing. And this setup looks to be just about as good as we've had it. In fact, the way I'll know is if I get Jose over here over the weekend and get him to fly it and see if he feels it's an improvement. Now, I have a gallon of fuel on this plane already between the team trials and horsing around here. But today's an exceptional day. Today is one of the days that You don't get many of these in our part of the country. some reason, we have more geese here than we ever had before. There are geese everywhere. I've just been inundated with them. I learned one thing really valuable today too from fooling around with Raul with this plane. This speed ship. When I was down in Texas, Dub was showing me the earplugs that the pylon guys use, and I didn't buy them. I said, what do I need these for? I have mufflers and pipes. Boy, I wish I had them now. Been putting paper in my ears and everything, and I'm getting a headache from launching this plane, but I'm a good guy. Now I normally wouldn't stay this long, except we'd have an exceptional day. And because we're coming up on the end of the season, it's only realistic we're going to be maybe a month from now not even flying, who knows. But I really feel like we learned something today, and I really want to, in fact, I'm getting so comfortable with this handle, I don't even know if I'm going to move the handle. But again, these days come and go, and the next day it's windy or raining or something, and you say, why didn't I stay and get 10 more flights? Well, I think I'm realistically going to get 1 or 2 more, and then it's time to go to work. Boy, when you end a day like today, you just wish it could go on forever. You know, I guess if you live in in sunny California or something, it does go on forever, but it doesn't go on forever here. But today we have really had a good day, and I'm so satisfied with and it's about a gallon of fuel, because I haven't recorded all the flights, of course, but I'll look at what I have when I get home. I've actually gotten used to having the plane just a little touchier. I'm going to see after another day. I don't want to touch the handle because I may just get too comfortable again. Maybe I just have to get used to flying it just a little more sensitive. But again, it's all personal things like buying a pair of shoes. What suits you is not going to suit this guy or some higher skill level guy, some lower skill level guy. Tuning it to your feel. And right now I feel like 90% of the time those turns are just an automatic, and the 10% that they're not, and I have to feed or fight or whatever. And boy, I can't wait to see if any of these wingovers look improved. That makes me crazy how long I've worked on those three things, that overhead 8 and that 4-leaf clover. But we've had a wide range today too. It's been a wide range of conditions. We had some breeze, we had some cool sweatshirt weather, and it's sneaking up on 90 degrees right now. In fact, we've fallen down almost to 90 air density. We've gone from 98 to 91 in a matter of, maybe we've been here 5-6 hours, I don't know. But we're all exhausted, we're going home. And boy, there is nothing better than just ending a session where the plane isn't greasy and dirty and filthy, and oh, those vents, they were making me crazy. There's almost nothing to do. One little wipe, plane's clean, ready for another session. Yeah, I saw that. That's good wax too. I always put a little wax on. In fact, Raul's just showing me. He's got turtle wax. That's good stuff too.
It's your material and my material,
It's the same, yeah. Same stuff.
I use a carbon fiber.
Yeah.
All the plane is a carbon fiber.
No, turtle wax is good too.
Yeah.
My son bought me this, so try to him and his custom car stuff. I don't know. Every time I find out he paid $30 for a can of wax, and it's almost as good as a Quorum's or something. Anyway, we have really lucked out today. This is one of the good ones. And we don't even have oil on the plane. And any day we can end up a day like this, wow. I always feel like, as Frank McMillan once said, that ride home is something special. Now, I thought I'd mention something that I think is very significant. If you look back even into the 90s, this is 91, you can see I always fly with sunglasses, always. And I've always gotten these Varney glasses from France, and I've been very, very happy with them over the years. Now, earlier, before that, I used to wear Weldon goggles because I didn't need a prescription. Well, all that's changed in the last couple of years. And as if this wasn't bad enough, what happened is my eye doctor every 2 years would automatically send me a renewal that I'm due for an eye test, and I'd go in and I'd get a new pair of Varneys, and my eyes were changing constantly. And I just happened to ask Karen today. I said, I came back from this flying session and I had a headache. And I was looking into the sun for a lot of the day, and I'm driving a car and I'm looking and the street signs look a little blurry, and I'm thinking, I wonder how long it's been since I had an eye test, because he normally would give me this little notice in the mail, I'm due for an eye test. And so I called Karen, and she said, oh, okay, I'll call the eye doctor and find out when you had your last eye test. Maybe it was longer than 2 years ago. Well, she called up our eye doctor, and he's dead. And we never knew it, because obviously he didn't tell all the customers, or whatever, he sold the business, I don't know what the hell he did. But I can't get Varneys now. So that's a problem. I have to find another Varney deal. I have to find another eye doctor. And I found out that Karen looked through our records to see when we actually got the last set of eyeglasses. And you know how you think everything is like a year ago, 2 years ago? Well, it was in 2000. So that means it's been 7 years since I had my eyes tested. No wonder I can't do a wing over. It's unbelievable. And I just realized today. So what I'm suggesting is, boy, if you want to get better at anything,
have your eyes tested. I'm going for an eye test this next week, and I will get new glasses and new Varnays. And that is truly one of the problems of being old, is every time I think something was, gee, you know, when did we do that last? When did we do this last? I think it was a year ago, 6 months ago, a month ago. It turns out it was 5 years ago. It's really an important lesson to learn in life. And I learned it well today, after this day in the sun.